Media Network proudly presents a weekly exploration of various spiritual practices with renowned spiritual authors, coaches, teachers, and Dr. Tracy Brown, RScP.
And now, here's Tracy.
Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here, and I am all ready to talk about poetry, prayer, and practice. How is all of this related to spiritual practice? And today I am going to focus on affirmations. Affirmations, a spiritual practice that many of us use, and we maybe even use them automatically. But I want to slow us down a little bit and take us back to the basics. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what affirmations are and maybe what they are not, how to use them. But before you check out, because you're like, oh, that I know all of that, I'm going to share some examples with you to give you some ideas of new affirmations that might really work for you. And then I'm going to spend a chunk of time on why your affirmations are not working. I hear from people all the time and they're like, yeah, I've used affirmations, but or I've got these affirmations that used to work, but now they don't work anymore, or et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to spend the biggest chunk of time on what to do to assess or diagnose what's going on when you feel your affirmations are not working. And then I'll share some additional examples with you, probably affirmations. Yes, affirmations that will work for all of us because they will be affirmations about how to be your best self, like your original you. And that's what we're going to do today. So let's dive in. So the basics on affirmations, what are they, right? They are affirmative statements that describe how you are, or your true essential self, or how you plan to be. Like you set an intention, it requires some new behavior or some new understanding about yourself. And the affirmation is a declarative statement that claims that truth, claims the truth. Now, some people will say as if it were true, but no, you are claiming the truth. And by using your affirmation, you are closing the gap between where you are now and what you know is actually your truth. So I don't want you even thinking about how I'm going to be. It's like, no, this really is my truth. It is my truth now. By saying this affirmation over and over again, I am simply affirming that which is true. And the universe is going to take care of the gap. My choices are going to close the gap. But the affirmative statement is already my truth. So an affirmation is always in the present tense because it is true. And affirmations that work really reflect, who you are, how you are. And if you are like me, then who you are and how you are is not just a mental idea. There's emotion connected to it. So affirmations include or generate the emotional connection that matches whatever you are affirming. So what are affirmations? They are declarative statements that affirm the truth of who you are, and they reflect or inspire or generate the level of belief and commitment that is required for closing the gap. Excuse me. How do you use them? Well, that's easy. You say them over and 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 over again. You can read affirmations, you can write affirmations, but most of us who encourage others to use affirmations encourage you more than anything to say it out loud as many times as you can. Because basically, what you are doing is reprogramming your subconscious to be in alignment, to make choices that are in alignment with what you are affirming. And when you say it out loud, there are multiple impressions being made. You think it, you translate the thought into language, you speak it, and when you speak it, your ears hear it. When your ears hear it, it translates it into meaning in your brain. You think it, translate out in words and sound. Words and sound come back in through the ear and translate meaning. So you're getting multiple impressions. And the reason we say do it over and over and over again is because you're programming your mind the same way you would program a computer, or the same way you would teach a 3-year-old something new, or a 5-year-old to tie their own shoe, right? You don't just say it once and give the instruction once. You're giving the instruction to your subconscious over and over again until it becomes the default. That could take once daily, although it probably takes more if you're making a shift. That could take 1,000 times daily. It's not, there's no magic number. It's you say it over and over and over and over again until it is 1, automatic, 2, believed, 3, like default. It's my default thinking. Then I'm not repeating it as much. My brain is telling me instead of me thinking about it. So sometimes people will give you an affirmation and give you a specific number of times to say it over a specific amount of time. I know I do that with my coaching clients often. However, there is no magic number. It is like do it and keep doing it and do it and say it and say it. Now, I said you could write your affirmations. Sometimes, because I am someone who journals a lot, sometimes I will find myself writing an affirmation and writing it over and over and over. And, next thing I know, I've got 2 or 3 pages in my journal where all I've done is write that affirmation again and again. That has the same effect of repetition, but you are missing that impression that comes from sound and hearing. So it's not wrong to just write it. However, when I find myself writing affirmations, often it's because I've been saying it so much that I'm just reinforcing what I've been saying. But you can write them over and over as well, or you could write it, or maybe I've done this as well. I'll take a Word document and I'll type it and fill the page. Single line, affirmations, affirmation, that same affirmation. And then I will print it out and I will post it on the refrigerator and post it on the bathroom mirror and post it maybe even in my car. So if I'm waiting or if I'm at a traffic signal and there's a red light, that becomes a spiritual practice that I read the affirmation until the light turns green. So you could read it over and over throughout the day as well. do you get the idea that maybe frequency has something to do with this? Yeah. So that's all you're trying to do, is create the frequency, the repetition. The other comment that I will make about affirmations that really is that they need to be short enough for you to remember them, right? If you are going to say them over and over and over and over again, if you have to read it because it's 3 lines long and it's hard for you to memorize, then you're working, right? It feels like you're working. You have to work really hard. So I've had some affirmations along the way that were pretty long that I ended up saying so much that I then memorized them. But it wasn't until I had them memorized that I could feel the power of them working. And how do you feel the power of them working? I know, like you could put it in the chat because I know you know too, right? You're believing it. Number 2, it becomes automatic. Number 3, you may not say, now I'm going to do my affirmations, but your brain is feeding you the affirmation and you go, oh yeah, that's right. And so it is beginning to work in your subconscious and at the subconscious level. And the other way you know your affirmation is working, of course, is when you manifest whatever it is you have been affirming. It's like, oh yeah, this is all the universe is conspiring for my good, and all things are working together. And I've been affirming this for the last 3 weeks, and oh wait, it's here. Like, wow. And so it's not difficult to know when your affirmations are working, but often we find that we feel like our affirmations are not working. So let's look at some examples of affirmations. I'm going to share with you 10 affirmations for health. I love these affirmations about health. Now, we all have health. Our health is what it is. It is a state of being. It is how we are doing. Sometimes we tend to label good health or bad health. But when you're saying an affirmation to say, I have great health, it's relative. So 10 of us could each say, I have great health. But our health wouldn't be the same because how we define great is subjective, and it will reflect what we have believed about health for the previous periods in our lives. So I find that there are times to use, I'm so happy my health is great. And I also find that it's very interesting to be more specific around how you feel when your health is great, or what is happening when you believe your health is great. And it makes it easier for your mind, for your brain, for your subconscious, for your ego to all get in alignment around what great health is. So 10 affirmations. See if any of these resonate with you. And I'll read them first and then I'll show them to you. So, and I'm taking a deep breath because I actually do want to affirm all 10 of these for myself. I invite you to do the same. I am healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Yeah, you can repeat it after me, right? I am healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Every organ and system in my body works perfectly. I am grateful for my perfect health. My food and exercise choices lead to excellent health. My body knows how to heal itself, so I listen and pay attention to the signals it gives me. Number 6, I know that my mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health are all improving every day. Number 7, excellent health is my birthright. Number 8, I release any and everything that is not aligned with excellent health. Number 9, every day is another chance for my health to improve. And number 10, I am always learning new ways to be healthy. Did any of those resonate with you? I don't usually use all 10 of them at the same time, but there are times when, I have to remind myself that I am healthy. I am able to live my life from a place of health or healthy food and exercise choices. So I may pick one or pick two and then repeat them incessantly for a few days if I'm feeling a little off, or if maybe I've had a cold or the flu, or I'm just low energy. And so we can create affirmations at any time, but I love those 10 and refer to them pretty frequently. So you heard me say them, and maybe you were repeating some of them after me, especially if you could just feel that, ooh, yeah, that one. And so I'm going to show them to you in video format so you can take them in again. Are you ready? Here we go. Yeah, love those, right? Right? Affirmations for our health. But if you're like me, there's sometimes you feel like your affirmations are not working. And I've had a lot of coaching clients come to me and a few students who have brought up what are the challenges. And what I find over and over again is there are 4 things that typically are happening if your affirmations are not working for you. So the number 1 challenge or barrier to your affirmations working effectively for you is frequency. Probably 2/3 of the time when someone tells me their affirmations are not working or they feel they're not working, I will ask them, okay, so how often are you saying it or writing it or reading it? And almost always the answer is, well, I say it every morning when I wake up, or I say it every night as part of my evening spiritual practice. And I'll be like, okay, you say the affirmation. How many times do you say it? Well, I say it. I might repeat it 2 or 3 times. And then, then I do a prayer and then I go to bed, or I say it for, 4 or 5 times. And then I go do the next thing. So frequency is important. You are retraining your brain and your subconscious. And if it is a change, and the more significant the change is, or the harder it is to believe that that is true for you, the more you have to say it. So if I've been living my life a certain way for 20 years, and then I start affirming something different, and I only affirm it once a day or 4 or 5 times once a day, it may not take me 20 years for that to really be believable at the subconscious level, but it's going to take a long time. So you're closing the time gap with repetition. So the frequency and the repetition of using the affirmation is the number one thing. If the affirmation is a good affirmation that you really do believe in, and that it is something you desire, and you feel you're not seeing or experiencing any internal movement or shift, it's probably frequency. But it's not the only thing. So the number 2 thing that I have come to recognize that keeps your affirmations from working so powerfully is that the affirmation itself is too long. It's too long for you to remember it. When you read it, you have to read it because you don't know it. And when you're reading it, you're often stumbling over words. It doesn't just flow. It's too long. It's just too long. Shorten it. Get it down to the essence, or get it down to one thing. So just a few weeks ago, I was working with the client, and we were going to talk about creating affirmations. And I asked them to bring the affirmations they had been working with to our meeting, because they had referred to, they love affirmations, and affirmations really work for them, and they use them all the time. And so they brought the affirmations that they had been using over the previous couple of months. And no joke, one affirmation was really 6, right? So the person had not memorized this affirmation, and I'm not surprised. Now, when they read it, they didn't stumble over it because they'd been reading it for a couple of months at that time, but they were reading it. They were not living it. They were not living it, breathing it. They were reading it. And there were really 6 different things they were affirming in what they were calling one affirmation. And so probably you, or not probably, possibly your affirmations, if you feel they're not working, they may just be too long. Simplify, shorten, cut to the chase. The number 3 barrier or problem that affects you feeling that your affirmations are really working is if they are not including emotion or passion. how would you feel, right? So some of you are familiar with Mary Morrissey, and right, when she teaches affirmations in the Prosperity Plus program and in other settings, she trains people to say, I am happy and grateful now that, or I am so happy and grateful because. And so when she's teaching, she is like happy and grateful. What's going to cause that, right? Happy and grateful. What's going to feed happy and grateful? So that people are getting used to being like, yes, this affirmation is so cool. This is who I really am. And your energy level goes up. And the feeling tone escalates the movement into living that affirmation. So if your affirmations, if you feel they're not working and they sound like, I am prosperous, or I have a new red car, or I love my job. Now, I love my job. It sounds like it has emotion, but did you hear how I said it? It's like, oh, yeah, matter of fact, I love my job. Now, if I were using that as an affirmation, right, it would be, I absolutely freaking love my work or my job. And if I even just said, I love my job, it would have a different energetic, I love my job because I do. And if I didn't, but that was my affirmation, that is how I need to express it. I really do. I'm in a job I love. The work I do makes such a great contribution to the world. I love having the opportunity to impact my life and the lives of others. So love can be there, but if I'm not expressing the love in the tone of my voice, in the quality of my voice, in the nature of how I'm expressing it, and I'm just using love or like or happy because somebody told me, Tracy said I must have emotion in my affirmation, but I don't feel the emotion, then I might as well not have it. So 3 barriers. One, that you're not actually using and repeating the affirmation enough, so frequency. 2, that the affirmation is way too long. And 3, that there's no emotion or feeling. The 4th thing that comes up as a barrier over and over again is belief or desire. Now, that's kind of related to the previous one of emotion and feeling, but here's the distinction. Many of us are doing affirmations because we are claiming or affirming something that has not yet manifest. But do I believe that it's really my true nature that I am moving toward? Or do I believe that it's possible? So if you have written your affirmation in a way that is completely unbelievable to your psyche, to your ego, to your brain, and to your heart, then that may be a reason why it's not working. So for myself, an example would be if I said, I love being a billionaire. Well, I can't really relate to that. I may want it, but there's so many questions about it. On the other hand, if I said, I am excited that my business generates $1 million over the next 2 years, I can believe that. And I can, get there or get closer to that and then say, change my affirmation to, I'm so excited that my business or that my income is $10 million. Like I can get to 1 million, and from 1 I can get to 10, but I can't start where I am and get to 1 billion with a B, because I don't have enough belief in it. Now I could say it over and over again, and maybe 15 years from now or 10 years from now, maybe I would be believing it and then creating that. But there is that element of believability, not believing based on the past, but can you really believe that that's your truth, that the truth is, related to that. So I used a money example, but the same thing is true. I've worked with several people who were cancer patients, and when we talk about the affirmations that they use and we're developing them, sometimes they can't quite believe that they will be cured at first. And so we may do an affirmation of the treatments. I'm so grateful that the treatments I am taking are working for my good. And it might be a few weeks, and then we might be able to go to the cure word. But the key here around believability and desire is, if you hear yourself constantly saying, yeah, but I am happy to be a billionaire. Yeah, but my cancer is cured. Well, actually, there's a whole nother problem with that. But I've had someone come to me and say, my cancer is cured. That's the affirmation. And I'm like, okay. And they'll say, yeah, but there's this, and the doctor is saying that, and there's a yeah, but. The other problem with that is it's affirming the cancer has its own life and that the cancer is cured, versus looking at who I am and the quality of my health, right? So when you're thinking about and creating your affirmations, if they're not working, do some diagnosis. Am I using it enough frequency? How do I feel when I say it? Or how can I restructure it so that the passion and the emotion is in alignment with what I really believe? Number 3, do I actually believe it is possible? And if not, there's probably an intermediary affirmation or 2 that I need to use. And then I can always go back to this one. And then, of course, is it too long? Simplify, simplify, simplify. So those are just some ideas about affirmations. I've shared some affirmations with you related to health. I've talked about how our affirmations kind of get co-opted and feel like they're not working, and how we can shift them. And I want to share some additional affirmations with you today. Now, these affirmations are all about you being the original, the unique individual you are, you being at home wherever you are in the world. And so just hang out with me for the next 2.5 or 3 minutes and see if any of these affirmations really resonate with you. Did you love any of those? Did they give you some ideas about how you could write and then speak affirmations that really affirm who you are? I love myself and I love my life. And on days when things aren't going so well, to be reminded, I have the creativity to solve problems, right? It's like use your affirmations for positive, affirming self-talk instead of the negative self-talk that we so often revert to. I hope this conversation about affirmations has been really helpful for you today. I know I've reminded myself of things I need to remember, and I think I'm gonna give myself the homework assignment of writing 5 new affirmations in the next week and refreshing or re-energizing my subconscious to be in support of Tracy being her best self. And you too can do the same. So that's talking about affirmations. I hope that you will join me next Tuesday at 12 noon Mountain Time on the New Thought Media Network. And between now and then, I invite you to check out so much of the other programming that is right here available to you on the network. There are spiritual practices every morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. There's prayer 3 times a day. You can send in a prayer request via email. Please check out our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and of course, you can always go to the website at ntmedia.org. I will see you next week. Please, in the meantime, consider donating to keep this network providing programming for you so that you can live a life you love. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week, or watch on demand at www.ntmedia.org or youtube.com/New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.